Come on in, everybody. Welcome. Instantaneous reaction presented by Knowles247.com. I am Trey Rowland. I'm here with Coach AB. Kev is off. I don't know, having a productive life somewhere. Not us. Us losers are in front of this camera and microphone, and we're dancing for how you want us to dance because we're here for you. Florida State wins 5-0, 39-17 in a very interesting game. I felt that it was a game that Florida State was in control of for pretty much the entire aspect of it. I felt like they came in, they did what they wanted to do. Not a complete performance. I'm not going to say we still haven't seen a complete performance. I think this was about as close as they got. They had one great quarter, started off hot in the first, 22-0. I thought, who didn't think it was going to be 84-0 at that point or whatever, right? It was nice. Second quarter was bad. And then after that, I thought two pretty good quarters. We can discuss what they did well, what they liked, because I saw, and I think you, Kevin, Brendan, and I in our chat, we saw some pretty visible differences in the run game in particular, kind of what they did formationally and the blocking concepts that they executed. And I thought it paid off. This was a team, Virginia Tech, that said, pretty bad offense. Now it got better ever since they instituted the drones kid and really started building around him the past couple weeks with a mediocre defense, like a top 40, top 45-ish defense. But their Achilles heels was defending the run. And dude, Benson went off 11 carries, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. We wanted Florida State to be more productive in the running game. Check, 282 total team yards, and we wanted them to be more explosive. Trey Benson, dude, with a long of 85. I think he had another of like 62 or 65. They did what they needed to do with still some things that can be tweaked. Adam, what did you think of the total performance? And I know there's a subject that we really want to get to. I think everybody wants to get to. Maybe I'll let you run with the ball.
I'm going to run with it. I don't know why in the hell the first thing we're doing is complaining about the defense that gave up 10 points in the freaking game. Like, get over yourself. And I'm talking to you, Bill. Yes,
yeah,
you,
Bill.
William. I'm going to call you William. You're not Bill anymore. Come on, man. Give me a break. You absolutely owned that offense. They ran the ball a little bit. You were okay letting them run the ball a little bit. Like, give me a break.
Just for the numbers.
I don't understand it.
Drones was 14-27 for 100 yards. Nothing. He had 80 on the ground. Half of that was from one run, 40, right? I will say that the only two drives that they got, and you and I hate doing this. We're X's and O's guys. We want to talk about the hard factors, the analytics and things like that. Dude, I don't even know if 10 of those points, they got 17, 7 was on special teams. They need to clean that up. The other 10 points, that was really bad, especially coming out of the half, dude. You gotta look better on that. We're looking at you, Papuchis. But dude, I don't even know how many of those 10 offensive points were legitimate because those two drives were so ref assisted. Right. There was a chunk of awful one-sided officiating for almost about 8 game minutes that I don't have the brain power to recollect something I saw so consistently batted on one side clustered. They took an interception away, which is a crime, what they did to Azariah Thomas.
Yeah,
dude, I think Ja'Kai Douglas got mugged on that slot fade before that. Like it was like 7 calls, it felt like, in a row that were just atrocious. Jordan Travis is like pointing to his head. Jared Verse got his face mask adjusted on a hands to the face.
Travis somehow gets railed from behind on a scramble where he picks up a first down and they call holding penalty. So it was pretty egregious, that stretch through the game. Now, granted, it kind of allowed Virginia Tech to take a hold of the momentum at that point.
Sure.
But I thought they answered it like really well. They come out in the second half, they give up the kickoff return, but then you just go out and your offense just takes over. And I thought that was huge coming out of the half that they were able to do that. And overall in the game, like I think somebody up above said what didn't feel particularly convincing. I really thought from beginning to end, they kind of dominated. And if you look at the win probability from game on paper, like from the, I don't know how they'll read this crap, but from play number 30, well, let's just go to here. play number 46 on. I mean, they were like at a 90%. It takes a little bit of a dip here. I don't remember. I don't know what exactly was going on there.
Got to be the kickoff return, right? When they got it within 5, right?
And by golly, it dipped to like 70%. Like, give me a break, and then it was just up again. So I thought they owned them. I really did. I thought they owned them. I thought it was okay. I thought you were okay. They had a couple runs in the second half. I didn't think that they did a lot in the running game in the first half. We'll watch the film again and look at it all, but you own the passing game. They got a couple runs with the quarterback that were just kind of fluky scramble plays. Like nothing just line up and beat you. And then the offense got out a little bit out of rhythm, which they've been known to do. But then they found themselves in the second half, and you established a run game. Like it's not always perfect. I'm sure we're going to talk about it here because you made an astute point, and you've actually been making it for a couple weeks now about spreading them out to run the football. But you got after it. They ran a bunch. They ran some counter. They ran it okay. They ran some. I call it down. Some other people will call it other stuff. And that was really your bread and butter in the game. We've seen that from them in the past, where they pull the front side guard, and he'll wrap or hook kick one or the other based on what the edge defender's doing, and that's where they really got most of their runs from. Kevin and I were talking about in the first half. They played that VT was playing a bunch of cover one or middle. They were playing with one high safety in the middle of the field, so they were taking the posts away, that kind of stuff. But they were also, and we knew this going into the game, they were giving you 8 in the run game. They were going to put 8 guys in the box if you were in a compressed formation or had a tight end in the box. So you were able to run some on that. I didn't love the one series where they kicked the field goal where Louisville is digging into Notre Dame, by the way.
All right.
I didn't love where they went with the 13 personnel. They went with the three tight ends down near the goal line where you end up kicking the field goal. That's just not who you are. Mike's going to have to get over it. Like he's going to have to be a big boy and pull his big boy pants up and realize.
The sample size we can talk about it chronologically because everybody was talking about how are they going to look after the bye. It was mostly how are they going to look defensively, and I thought defensively they looked fine to pretty good. They shut down this kid. Couple of runs here and there, some misfit on the run. I think a lot of the misfits could have been. There's a lot of linebackers that saw time in this game that combinations were off, and you could tell there was a little bit of confusion in there. They missed having a complete game from Tatum Bethune. I thought the defensive line played really good. I thought Jared Verse, 2 sacks. Pat Payton, I think he had a tackle for loss and a half. Especially at the end of the game, the defensive line took over. Now, at the beginning of the game, chronologically, that we wanted to see like what they were going to do different, like I said earlier. And I thought you saw that immediately on the first drive. You saw really good tempo. It was less methodical. You could tell because they kept, I think it was like Mark Jones and Louis Riddick in the booth. They'd go into the booth and a play would be running. It was like, okay, guys, you can have your little monologues and soliloquies later because they went fast. But they went fast, even with the tight end on the field. Which was Kyle Morlock and Markinson Douglas. I don't know how much Jaheim Bell played. I don't know what was going on there. But
he seemed to come in, and then he was in there, but the ball never really kind of found him. And I'm not sure what. For people that are going to ask, we have no clue what's going on there. So
I don't know if it was an injury, like if they were kind of nursing the ankle from the end of that Clemson game. I don't know what's going on there because I thought that was a game that they could really take advantage of the linebackers for Virginia Tech. And to some extent, I think they did. I thought Morlock had a little nice game. But even when they would have a tight end in the game, he would be spread wide. And what happened with that? You had a lot cleaner looks in the box. I think the reads were a lot less muddled for the offensive linemen. And I thought they didn't necessarily hit the explosives on that first drive.
They had 7 explosives in the game, but I agree with you. They were just kind of taking what was there.
But it was consistent, dude. It was 4 runs, 6 runs, 7, 12, this, that. And I thought it looked good, and the speed helped them. They didn't give Virginia Tech a lot of chances there. And I thought Jordan, for all the criticism, and his numbers today were pretty good. To be honest with you, when you're running backs, when you're getting all those rushing yards, he didn't have to do a lot. 18 of 24, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, both to Johnny Wilson. I'll be interested in your thoughts on that. But he ran the ball 10 times today. And I thought he picked up some key first downs for you, and he looked like a more willing runner. And I thought he could have got a lot more penalty yards if I guess half the times he pointed to his head where he got hit going on the slide, they would have called it. So I thought they did look different. Now, when the lull happened, Adam, what do you think? Like, I think they can be coached into spreading it out, going fast, but I feel that there's almost it's synonymous with the kind of team has like an elite switch. I feel like this team is more comfortable playing like methodically, all the checks at the line, and playing more comfortably in like a wait and see mode. Did you see that how they kind of fell into that in the second quarter?
Well, see, if Sabiers went out, I'm not sure if he went out with an injury or what exactly happened there, but he went out in kind of in that area of time when they bogged down. But I think it's also fair to say that the pace of the play seemed to go down. They seemed to be looking for the perfect play. They kind of went away from their run game a little bit. Like on one of those drives, they ran the football, got 6 yards or 4 yards, then came back with a screen, and it got
blown up to Benson. It did get blown up.
And then they went, and then I think they had the Jordan Travis scramble. And he got the first down, but they called it back for holding.
Yes, that's correct.
I think that's that drive. So like penalties started to play a big factor on against the offense in that kind of segment of play or a segment of series there also, which I think it's important to talk about, or at least important to point out. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Like that second quarter was just a weird second quarter.
And I don't.
The officials took over. The officials took over the game. Like I don't want to blame them because some of your play was not great, and we'll look at it on the film. Like it feels like it's so long ago. I don't even freaking remember the plays, but we'll look at it on the film. But it really just felt like the officials bogged that game down, and they slowed it down so much with all the penalties and all the flags, and really they just lost their rhythm. And I was glad that second half that they came out and they found it again.
I agree. And I think it was so disjointed that second quarter. And it seemed like, oh man, FSU's offense really like what happened? Are they doing the BC thing over again? To be honest with you, it was 2 stalled drives. Now they were stalled to their own making a little bit with like the penalties, but they missed out on 2 drives. And then there was like an 8-minute long touchdown drive for VT where half of the 8 plays were like referee assisted, dude. So it was a weird quarter. I don't want to excuse their play because I don't think it was great, but I'm glad that they rebounded outside of that horrific special teams. But you can't do that. You can't give up touchdowns on special teams, especially when you're trying to like put your boot on somebody's neck and you got to come out because you made life really difficult for Virginia Tech's offense. They didn't get an easy thing. They didn't get explosives. Like you were making them earn it, which I thought was a good defensive game plan. So you can't give that up. But outside of that, the first quarter was phenomenal. The third quarter was good. And the fourth quarter was good. So I liked the response. Wasn't a complete game, but I thought it was a solid performance. What did you think of Florida State's the offense outside? We talked about Trey Benson, man. Looked great. Nice bounce back game from him. He's a dangerous dude when you kind of get him on that track outside the tackles. I think still on the interior kind of runs. I don't know if it's when things get muddled, the vision's a little weird. But, dude, he's got another gear when you get him some momentum, and especially when you lay down some good blocks for him. How do you think the receivers performed? Johnny Wilson, he was 4 for 54, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Keon had a good punt return, kind of quiet performance on the day. What did you think of the wide receivers? What did you think of the tight ends? And what do you think about Johnny? They were talking about it was like they said like a knee injury. I thought he got dinged in the head. I don't know.
I don't know either. And I don't think Mike will comment on it. We'll see.
No.
We'll see about his availability. Yeah, those would all offset if they would have called the
yes.
If they would have called the personal foul, but they didn't. So.
Another mistake, as Dan correctly poined out.
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers here, production-wise, like 447 total yards, 7.3 yards per play. Like you dominated them there. Your EPA for all the offense was 18.96. Like that's probably pretty good.
And look at Virginia Tech's minus like
negative.
6.
Yeah. Passing game was, I don't know. The passing game just feels so weird to me. Jordan just continues to underthrow deep balls. Like the Ja'Kai one was a dime and he gets grabbed and then he throws another one to Ja'Kai and it's behind him. I thought he threw a great back shoulder fade to Destin Hill. Like, I just want to see more Destin Hill if we can, please. Like, I'd like to see them try to get that ball to him a little bit more.
In breaking routes, when Johnny was in the game, they had some more in breaking routes specifically to him. Now, when that got short circuited with his injury,
they ran some RPO stuff, and it seemed like it looked like I said earlier that Virginia Tech was playing a lot of one high stuff, so you're able to throw that early, and it felt like they switched to some different zone spot drop looks which started confusing them a little bit, especially in the second quarter, which took some of that away. So I don't know. Again, I want to go back and look at it on the film so we can get a great look at it. But yeah, I mean, rushing wise, it's great to find a run game. I mean, 298 yards. That's incredible. That's what you needed to do against this team. This team was putrid against a run. 15.43 EPA,
Jeez.
8.76 yards of play with the run game. Like, you got stopped a couple times, but you really were better than not with the run game, and that's what you needed to do, I think, in this game. The penalties were they had a lot of procedural penalties.
Those were bad. You can't. Your center, like as a former high school 3A Florida center, you cannot like that.
2 false starts on Mo was a little weird, and that's not being dinged. Like, I thought Mo looked fine in the game. I don't quite understand what that was about. So I'm sure it's something they'll get worked out. I don't know if VT was doing some stuff or if they just, I don't know. That's weird. It's inexcusable at this point in the season. Like, that's crap that's got to get worked out. But other than that, like, procedurally, you got lined up pretty good. They ran a bunch of RPO stuff with Jordan, which looked good. They got Kyle Morlock involved, which looked good. I don't know if Jordan can't see in the middle of the field this year for some reason. Like I was saying to Kev earlier, like the teams are playing a lot more cover one against them, which is man under with a one high safety. So teams are playing a lot more cover one against them. But like last year, they used to use the tight end in the middle of the field a ton. They'd go empty. They'd let him kind of work and sit down in between linebackers. That part of the offense just seems completely gone.
They design plays for the tight end, but like in the flat, right? Yeah. Now I get that when you have like a Jaheim Bell and he's like, dude, when he gets the ball, like with his running prowess. Yeah. But I'm with you. We rarely have a time where it's like the safety valve situation, like the Jason Witten type thing. The guy will find the soft spot in the zone and sit, and you'll get the free 8 yards. So it'll be interesting to see if that's something that can come back. I mean, it's weird that they would do it last year, and we all agree that the tight end room is more talented this year, and they don't. It'd be nice to see if that comes back, because it would be good to give Jordan that easy, free, underneath throw instead of having to always run it when he wants to take a safe 7 or 8.
I love that he made quick. You talked about the pace of the play. I thought he bogged down a little bit too. Like
Jordan?
In that first quarter, it was back foot, hit the ground, ball was out, or he was taken off. And then in the second quarter, it just – I don't know if the picture got muddy for him. Like I said, they started doing some spot drop zone stuff, and I don't know if that muddied the picture for him, but he seemed to slow down. When his back foot hit in the second quarter, it was like, and he was hesitant. So, but I thought the second half he got back to making quicker decisions and being very decisive, which was good.
I think when it's more instinctual, he just looks like a better player when the game is moving faster. Like I always thought he's played good, like under pressure on the blitz, instead of taking all that time and check here, check this, and trying to get the perfect matchup, which does have its benefits when you've got those two super freaks on the outside. Yeah. I just like the Florida State's, it's a rhythm offense, but it's kind of like a rhythm team, dude. They really kind of get in like a flow state, like you could see in that first quarter. I think any action they take to keep that state going longer is only going to help them out.
Kev wanted me to pass a statement on to everyone.
Oh, okay. We're taking statements now.
I swear if I hear a defensive complaint after this one, Kev wants none of your defensive complaining.
Was the threat like open-ended, or did he say what he was going to do?
So I would say, yeah, that's awfully open-ended.
Guys, Kev's a chemist. You don't want to see what kind of weird elixir or concoction he's going to just keep him. It's always the quiet ones that are the most dangerous.
He might be making PIM particles in there. I don't know what's going on.
Who knows? Dude, who knows what he's cooking up? So don't complain to him about the defense.
Yeah. People were frustrated. I see Dennis Hipsley just said the 4th and 22 at the end of the game. Like, defense is uncalled for. Like you're playing coverage. You rushed. You had him sacked. He broke a sack. Everybody's running down the field because they're trying to cover people. Like, I don't know what the hell you want to have happen there.
It's fair because it's like, oh my God, if they convert that. But but let's analyze before how they got to 4th and 22, because the defensive line frickin' ate and made their life. So I would like to see them even against any more mobile quarterbacks. I think we saw at the beginning of the year they kind of I don't know if it's a mush rush, but it's almost like a wait and see approach. You're going to give up scrambles no matter what in the game.
Right.
I say let those dudes pin their ears back, man. Braden Fisk looked like his ass was lit on fire.
They
Jared
did.
Verse
They
looked
did.
great
Fisk had him in the grasp and almost got him sacked
on that same play.
Yeah, on the fourth down play, he breaks it, and then you've got everybody covering down the field. Like, it's gonna happen.
It is.
It's 4th and 22. Like,
but because of how much duress they put him under, how good the defense was before that, it was 4th and 22. So that kid's spectacular play was a couple yards short. So I get the frustration, but you got to acknowledge the positives that got them there in the first place. So offensively, you did what you had to do. Virginia Tech had a glaring weakness, and they had some time to kind of maybe self-scout themselves and try to fix it. It wasn't enough. You exploited it, and you choked the life out of the game, and you got the explosives when you needed. So let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. I think we both agree that they look pretty good. You know, somebody who looked really good. There we're talking. The Blue Chicken, the NG Hoops. They go exactly where I was going to go. I don't know how many snaps Conrad Hussey had in that game, but man, if that light can start to turn on, that's a guy. The only thing that I thought is frustrating to me about Florida State's defensive performance in this one is you knew the kid wasn't going to attack you downfield.
Right.
They were playing games with you on the perimeter, specifically with like their perimeter blocking, swing passes, things to the outside. I thought the defenders
giving some of that stuff up.
I know, but I thought the defenders did a poor job of fighting through blocks.
Right.
If you can have like a Conrad Hussey, just like anthropomorphic, like Scud missile that can knife through those blocks, I would love to see that, man. And if he's gonna consistently be in the right place, I mean, dude, he had like what was that? You're an Eagles guy. Was that Lito Shepherd, Reggie Bush hit?
Yep.
Yeah,
dude. He had the Greg Reed. Come on, man.
He had one of those too. Yeah, he had one of those too. And then he got the fumble at the end of the game where it's like, oh, they're going to score.
Should have had the fumble before the play before it too.
That's so that's a game-changing type guy in the secondary. Yeah. So integrate him. Any other guys that stood out to you? Jared Verse, great game. Peyton, I thought, built off his last game. Any other guys that we haven't talked about that had a good game? Bernardo Green is a sure tackler in the perimeter, and I
thought Josh Farmer played real well. I thought Fentrell Cypress played real well too. AZ obviously had the nice play on the interception, but I thought he played. Jerry Jones, I thought played fine. He had the holding late in I think it was the fourth quarter. I think I want to see some more from Shaheem Brown. Like, I want to see him just keep coming and getting involved. It was nice seeing Akeem Dent back. DJ Lundy had one bad play where he jumps inside and the ball gets outside him. He's got to stay outside on that and set an edge. Fisk is an animal. I would have liked to see Fisk on the edge a little bit today. Thought this would have been a good game to try and do that. You know, they want to run the ball physically. I would have liked to maybe have played with that a little bit. Deloach, I mean, he is what he is. He's a solid player.
Athletic.
But does get out of position from time to time. Like, I thought they struggled to tackle that running back who is extremely physical. That kid reminds me of who was a running back in the Mike's earlier Webb.
LaDamian Webb?
Yeah, LaDamian Webb. I thought the kid kind of reminded me of him. Like, just
the Tutankhamun kid or whatever his name was?
Yeah. Whole toots a lot. I mean, just physical, kind of a bowling ball type of back. Like, ran really hard. You weren't going to bring him down when one guy tackled him. So just kind of remind me of him. But on the whole, like, you dominated their passing game. Verse played like a grown man with a couple of sacks. Like,
100 yards through the air.
I thought you played really well on defense. I don't get the hand wringing. I don't understand. If not for some ridiculous officiating, like, I just really thought you played well on defense.
Not enough to where it would stick with me. Like, the rap on this kid is to try to get some negatives because he's not consistent enough to put a drive together. And without, like, the ACC refs, dude, right, doing all the heavy lifting, he really wasn't.
I don't think they score more than 3 points if not for some ridiculous officiating. Like,
shit, dude, even like dial back some of the crap calls like 3 or 4 times. So, I mean, I get it. I wish
they blitzed. I thought they came out like everybody's talked all week about, I want to see them be aggressive. Like, I think I'm going to change Chris Nee's name to aggressive. Like, I've heard him say it a bunch on OTB and on the boards and whatnot. And I get it. Like, I don't disagree with him, but I thought they came out and played aggressive. I thought they were really physical up front. I thought they were physical out on the edges. Like, I just, like they're not always blitzing, but they did blitz. And I thought they did what everybody wanted them to do, which was be aggressive from the start. I thought they played really well in the first quarter. And then the damn officiating just took the game over the second quarter and it got muddied up. Like that happens in football. And then you come back out in the second half and you owned them.
Yep. I'd like to see what I thought Virginia Tech started to lean on FSU a little bit in the run game, particularly in the interior. I want to see if that was a function of the interior defensive line, because they had some long drives. If that was a function of them being a little gassed, or if it was linebackers guessing. The one that I saw on the zoom in, it looked like the linebacker guessed a little bit.
It looked like, I think it was Lundy was in there. It looked like he jumped out of a gap. But a couple of those were that we've seen it from time to time. LSU hit him with one late. I think it was LSU, maybe. Yeah, I think it was LSU.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma did it a bunch to them. They ran outside zone weak and busted it on them when they caught them rotating with their secondary. So that stuff happens. They hit them on those a couple times for some good chunks, but ultimately, like that point in the game, you were in control. I just thought they're like, okay, like you're just not gonna beat us. Like we're gonna get stops when we need them. So.
Do you think we all talked about what they needed to do against a team of this caliber, kind of like a middling, like top 50, top 60 team? Do you think they did what they needed to do as a complete, obviously good, bad things that we're going to look at that can be tweaked, but as an overall performance, which is what we should judge us off of? Did they do what they needed to do? Like, do you feel satisfied overall, Adam?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it was ugly in the second. It was ugly in the second quarter. And like, I'm the one that was losing my mind over the USM game. Like, hello, people, wake up. Like, I feel like I've had a pretty good pulse of what's going on with this team. Like, I was the first one complaining about the running game. Like, I'm sitting here. I think it's okay. Like, I think we're all right.
You're a tough judge. You are a tough judge.
I am.
And I thought I'm with you. And the thing that I thought was promising. Go ahead.
I think we're getting some answers though. I don't. Maybe we were out over our skis about this, like being a national title contending team.
Well, in a traditional year, or in the year of our Lord 2023, because I don't like.
I think in a common year of football. Like, yes, in 2023 maybe they are, but like, I think in a typical year, if you think of typical college football, like this is a good team, not a great team.
Yes, and I agree, but I feel like they're being. I don't want them to be penalized.
I think we're being they probably are, but I think they're being held to this is a great team standard. And I don't think it is. Like there are some flaws. Like there's clearly flaws with this offensive line that are not going to get fixed this year. I don't care who's healthy. I don't care who's back. Like they're a good group, not a very good group, not a really good group. They're just good. I mean, and that'll get you beat. That'll get you beat if you go up against a defensive line that's better than that. There's some flaws with this passing game. Like Jordan clearly didn't get a whole lot better. He's playing good. He's not playing great. Like there's just enough. Like if this team clicks, then yeah, it probably is great. But I don't know if they're ever going to click. Like,
well, maybe not for 4 quarters. And I was talking to my buddies about it, and they were talking about this defensive line should never get pushed around and this and this and that. And I go, listen, man, they're dominant, but it's in spurts.
Yeah.
And the team itself is dominant in spurts. Now, is there going to be one of those games where maybe you're not as dominant, or there's not as many spurts, or maybe like the timing of it's off? Like, who knows? Like, what happened if FSU would have experienced a lull in the third quarter after giving up a special teams touchdown? When you play with fire a little bit too much and you do it in the wrong configuration, it could, in totality, lead to a loss. I mean, it could have against Clemson. But I don't know, man. Their good is good enough this year to where I just kind of want to play out the string, man. 5-0, and they about covered the spread. I mean, they would have covered the spread if they didn't have the special teams touchdown. So they did what Vegas thought that they would do. I feel pretty for this specific performance, for what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. They did the job, man. I feel good.
Hopefully some CFO down there in Florida is going to get you Daryl Jackson eligible for November, and you plug him into this lineup against Miami and Florida, and you go beat them. Like, who cares if you win ugly as long as you're winning? And
well said.
Let's keep doing that and see where the hell it takes us.
I didn't expect 5-0 preseason. And it was good. This was a good performance, man. And the team does have the potential. It will be interesting to see how long Johnny Wilson's out, how they adapt, if maybe that's the catalyst that's needed to kind of spur the evolution of this passing game. Because maybe that is. So maybe it is going to be something to where it's going to get those other guys, the Destin Hills, the Ja'Kai Douglas, who was almost involved in 2 pretty significant splash plays, Kentron Poitier, all those guys. Maybe that gets them. This is the catalyst that this gets those guys involved. And God willing, when Johnny's back, maybe it's a different look. Maybe the blocking concepts that they had, which we are going to go over fully in the X's and Knowles thing, maybe that integrates more seamlessly after a couple more game reps into the running game. And then maybe you can get teams off balance and then start running counter again, right? Who knows, man? This team is not. This is not the final form of this team. Mike Norvell teams are normally their best at the end of the season.
November.
What happens on defense, dude? The integration of a game-changing true freshman safety like a Conrad Hussey.
Oh, come on.
Who knows, man? So the team, great performance, 5-0. The boys are getting the job done. I thought this was a solid performance today. We're going to go over on X's and Knowles. Don't beat yourself up over it. Have a nice beer and just enjoy the win, man. It was a good, solid win. They did what they needed to do. Final thoughts, Adam? Anything to address? Is it a happy chat? I don't see the chat. Do they agree with us?
Happy. Okay, it's pretty happy. They're pretty content. There's some defensive complaining. My final thoughts to all the Atlanta Braves fans out there: go Phillies. That's all I got.
Well said.
And the Marlin fans in here. I'm sorry.
Well said. I'm a Cubs fan, so I don't care anymore. I just want to watch the world burn. Anyway, well, if you want to watch everything that happens in the world of FSU, Knowles247.com, massive recruiting weekend. Good to pick up the big double-digit 22-point victory with all the recruits in the stands. Go to Knowles247.com. Look at all the reactions, all the analyses, because there's a lot of analysis going on, plural. So check that out. If you're not a subscriber to this YouTube channel, do that so you get the little bell notifications. X's and Knowles, we're going to have Kevin back. We're going to be looking at all the film review. We're going to be talking about the how we got it done. And love you guys, man. 5-0.
Yeah. Let's go. Celebrate. Enjoy.
Crack a beer, brothers.
Another win coming next week, hopefully.
Keep chopping. Yeah, I like